Some big clues are going around regarding Becky Lynch and her status, so we'll see what's new there. So we'll also check out what's going on with the Bloodline, Kevin Owens, and much more. Starting things off with some notes on Becky Lynch. Becky stepped away from the ringway back in May after dropping the Women's World title to Liv Morgan. Becky's uncertain status and future with the company was first brought up by Becky herself. During the road to WrestleMania, it was Becky who made the revelation that she only had 2 months left on her contract and that the company had yet to approach her about a potential extension. Fans were a bit surprised by the news that the front office and board of directors did not even offer one of their biggest stars a new extension with their expiration date so quickly approaching at the time. But it turns out Becky was not bluffing about having no extension signed. Those 2 months came and she wrestled her final match of that deal. So Becky Lynch has now been out of the ring for over 6 months, and fans are still curious on if we've seen her wrestle her final match or if she will eventually return from this break. So the first big clue that Becky Lynch would be returning to the company came a few months back when Seth Rollins successfully signed a new extension. Fans feel like if Becky's husband just signed a new deal, it's very likely that she'll be sticking around and being on the same show as him if she does decide to wrestle again. And now there's a new hint about Becky Lynch's return to the company taking place after all. So WrestleVotes Radio on Backstage Pass reports that the company has allegedly been in talks with major athletic apparel retailers, and how one of the names that came up during this conversation was items for Becky Lynch. Now, this doesn't exactly confirm a return for Becky. Obviously, the name is property of the company, and they can always do whatever they want with it, no matter what. But fans just get a strong feeling that if they're considering new merchandise for Becky Lynch, it has to be because they expect to have the woman behind the character back on their programming sometime in the near future. So it looks like the question around Becky Lynch is no longer if she'll be back. It's looking more and more likely that the only question left to ask is when will she be back? As far as the time frame for Becky Lynch's return, that's still a bit in the dark, but WrestleVotes Radio believes anywhere from Royal Rumble to before WrestleMania 41 is very likely. So the wait to see Becky Lynch back inside the wrestling ring appears to be almost over. Kevin Owens is in the middle of a pretty personal battle against his former friends Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. Kevin took things to new heights recently by doing something that you don't see superstars do often, and that's respond to certain reports and rumors that were circulating. Kevin directly responded to the reports coming from Backstage Pass about how the company is deeply in love with Cody Rhodes and how the company compares him and looks at him as being real similar to prime John Cena. Kevin Owens quoted that report and simply responded by saying LOL. Kevin is most likely laughing at this report because Kevin's character itself basically has been echoing this same exact thing for weeks now. Kevin has called Cody Rhodes the golden boy and how it's unfair Cody gets all this extra treatment and care that other superstars don't get. And funny enough, right after Kevin has been making those claims for a while now, a report comes out that the company is in love with Cody Rhodes, absolutely just confirming what Kevin Owens knew this whole entire time. So that's why Kevin Owens found that report to be so funny. It absolutely confirmed his suspicions that were already strongly there. As far as his storyline currently goes, it doesn't seem like things between Kevin Owens and Randy Orton are resolved at all. It actually seems like things are just getting started there between the two of them. So it seems like we can expect to see Kevin Owens and Randy Orton battle it out here in the coming weeks. And assuming that Kevin Owens does get the upper hand over Randy Orton and wins that feud, that'll mean Cody Rhodes will be next on Kevin's list. Kevin had been very vocal about how he feels deeply betrayed by Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, so he's coming after them one by one. So after Randy is dealt with, it appears that Kevin Owens will be coming for revenge on Cody Rhodes and once again trying to get his hands on that undisputed title. So expect a lot of big things coming up for Kevin Owens on SmackDown with a Randy Orton feud and a feud with Cody Rhodes most likely starting up right after that. The Bloodline's grasp of the pro wrestling industry is continuing to grow. Fightful Select announced this week that the company signed Bloodline family member Lance to the company over the summer. But it was also reported that he's currently recovering and dealing with an injury. so there's no imminent plans for him in the near future. As everyone is already well aware of, the Bloodline already has a strong list of legends in the industry, and even current big stars in the industry. So whenever it's announced that a new family member has been signed, fans instantly have some major expectations for them to reach high levels of success considering the history of their family. There's so many Bloodline family members sprinkled out the entire industry, and fans can't wait to see them all potentially join the big family program that's still going down on Smackdown. And speaking of the Bloodline, Kevin Nash brought up something pretty interesting and noteworthy. Kevin Nash says he doesn't know how accurate the number was, but he said that he came across a list that had Roman Reigns' alleged salary at $15 million. Again, he has no clue how true that number is, but he said, just hypothetically speaking, if that number is true, that means that Roman is getting paid more than the entire 1993 roster got paid combined. So a pretty mind-blowing stat if that Roman salary number is close to being accurate at all. Fans of the New Day may be having a pretty rough day coming up. Kofi and Woods have been at each other's necks for several months now on Raw. So they went from being on the same page together and being one of the most united tag teams ever, to being very distant partners that never appear to be on the same page at all anymore. Woods stopped wearing matching gear with Kofi and just decided to wear whatever he wants to the ring. Then Woods had those terrible heel tactics of ripping Rey Mysterio's mask off and trying to cheat in many different ways. And they just continued to be on opposite sides of the world when they're teaming. No flow or chemistry anymore because of all these newly found issues with each other. Their issues have been stretched out for months now, and everyone has been wondering about when we'll see that long-awaited actual moment of turning heel come from Woods. And well, it seems like we're getting extremely close to seeing it take place. The New Day will be celebrating their 10-year anniversary together in late November. Judging by some of the things said on television, it does seem like the 10-year anniversary will be celebrated and acknowledged on Raw in the coming weeks. And everyone is thinking the same thing, that this great celebration of 10 full years together as a tag team is most likely going to end with heartbreak, and with Woods finally making his long-awaited heel turn towards Kofi. Some fans feel like that may be way too predictable, and that maybe they'll save the heel turn for the weeks after the 10-year anniversary. But either way, it's happening within the next few weeks, and even though everyone can see it coming, it's still going to hurt pretty hard because you're talking about a team of 10 years coming to a brutal end. Not a team that got together 6 months ago or a year ago. This is a team that's literally been together with no stops for a complete decade. That's going to be a pretty heavy breakup. It's also being reported that the New Day, including Big E, filmed some content together in celebration of the 10-year anniversary, but it's unknown if that content will be social media exclusive or if it'll be featured on Raw. We'll have to wait on that. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.